right, y'all, welcome to SkitLanta's commentary budgeting. This week, I will be cash stuffing the remainder of my wallet after my spending. So typically, I budget myself as far as my wallet, my personal wallet, $370 a week. This week budget, I had to allow for business expense, so it actually brought my budgeting total for this week $570. So I've already spent some money from out of here since I didn't record it prior to me going out. But what is remaining out of this week to put inside of my binder is $53. So we're gonna go ahead and count this out. Move that over to the side, my little candle. All right. So we got 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 51, 52, 53. Go ahead and section that off. Normally I have a divider to hold my cash, but unfortunately, I don't have that here with me here. So I can't put it in my divider. Might just get me another one next time I order something off of Amazon. But this week, my business expense was quite high. Normally, I like to budget $50 to $100 a week to go towards stuff that I need. But this week, I needed a lot. So I end up having to spend quite a bit of money. That's why this week budget is $570 versus $370. There, just trying to straighten it up. So I'm just trying to stack the money so that you can see it. I did end up getting a new binder in today. And that's why I didn't really want to keep showing that other binder because it was like so messed up. So my new binder ended up coming in the mail through Amazon because that's what I ordered it from today. I'm gonna slide that over a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So a couple of items are it's meaning the same thing in my wallet, but they have different titles because with this new budgeting book that I got, it didn't have some of the categories that I personally did on my own. Back home, I have my setup to make budgeting items, so I make my own stuff back home, but I don't have that here, so I cannot do it. So I just have to order and work with what they got, and so I just recategorize some of them, which I will be speaking on what I changed the name to, but it's absolutely the same thing. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. For dining, typically I get $40 a week for dining. I don't get to go out to eat a lot here because of the situation that we're in right now. As y'all might already know from previous videos, we are in government housing and on the military installation, and where we're located, it is like in the middle of nowhere, right? And since I do not have transportation here where I'm at right now, which I'm gonna work towards that if I have to stay here for a couple of more months. I thought I would have been gone back home by now, but so that's in the work. I'm trying to figure something out to try to get some more wheels up this way. But then the question is gonna be, depending on how we leave here, I'm gonna get it back home. So whatever I get, it's gonna be a cash car. Hopefully I can get it back, figure out a way to get it back home, depending on how everything works out here. Anywho, but anyway, as far as that, we're in government quarters and with no transportation here. So either I walk to the store or I catch a cab where I'm going, or I do a rental. Now the rentals are extremely expensive up this way where we're at. Oh my goodness. And so therefore I turned in the rental a couple of months ago thinking that, I'll just pay the difference for the cab fare and just focus more on, instead of, because I couldn't do the medical side here or my personals here, but I focused on doing the Instacart and the DoorDash here. But DoorDash sucks up here. I thought I had it bad back home. Here is ridiculous. Like, I wasn't really making any money doing that. So it was just best for me to just turn in the car, figure it out until we get back home. Yeah, so I don't really get to eat out a lot because where we're located, they do not allow deliveries to be brought on base. When I tell you, if you're not military, you're not getting on this base. They got this mug locked down like Fort Knox. Like, you would think the president live over here. You ain't getting in here. A lot of things we cannot do, but going out to eat every now and then, I can walk out the back gate and go get something. So I still try to leave a budget for going out to eat. But it's $40 a week for me to do so. Sometimes I use dining out towards groceries if I don't have any more, and that's where that go at. But this week, I gave it $40. I did get to go to Subway while I was out shopping. I spent $14 there, so it left me with $26. So we're gonna get $25 and $26. It left me with $26 in my dining out. I've already did the trackers on here since this is a new budgeting book, because my other one, y'all, woo, I had not took that thing through the ringer, which I really wasn't trying to buy no more binders, because back home I got a whole bunch of them. But because, of course, I'm not home, I had to do what I had to do. Just go ahead and order another. It ain't not that expensive, y'all, so it's not like I spent a lot of money getting this, but I did get me another binder. But unfortunately, like I said, as far as the categories, dining out used to be in my old one, eating out, but it's now dining out in this one. So I got $26 left in that. Food is categorized as food, but this is my grocery budget, y'all. And the budget is normally $100 a week, which is $400 a month. Y'all, and normally I mess up. No, I can be real honest here. Normally when I go grocery shopping, I spend, that first time I go grocery shopping in the beginning of the month, because of our situation, I like just get everything at one time. It typically be like $400 as soon as I go shopping. But this time I was able to cut back a little bit. I got a way for me to go to the commissary here, and get the grocery back. The problem is, because it's a big base to walk on, it's a small base to drive on, and without having your own transportation, cab drivers do not like coming on this base because they're not gonna make no money taking me around where I need to go. So I think I got it pretty much worked out right now. But anywho, $100 is what I budgeted for this week on groceries. I end up spending, y'all, a total of $116 on groceries. So I overspent on groceries. Actually, I spent, oh, that's right. That's not groceries, that's household. I labeled the other one wrong. Hold up. Yeah. Okay, so I end up spending $115.51. Typically our grocery is like $400 to $500 a month. I round this up to 100, as you can see, 116. All my receipts, I literally just went so you can see what's in this week. I just did this, y'all. Okay. All my receipts, I do Fetch Reward. I scan them. I will put a code on this video. So if you haven't heard about Fetch Rewards, you're going to spend the money anyway. So you might as well scan your receipts. You can earn money back. You can either get it through cash cards, or you can get it back through gift cards, or you get, depending on how much you spending and stuff, you can even use it on furniture, plane trips and stuff like that. Now, prior to me coming here, I never flew in my life, but now I have flown. I ain't gonna say I'm gonna be flying everywhere. Back my scary mind. But you can use that on the Fetch Rewards if you choose to. So I will put the link for my Fetch Rewards. And whenever you sign up, I get bonus points as well. You accumulate those points. You can cash out whenever you want to. And those bonus points, man, it done help me out. I done bought dinner with it. I done went out with them back home. You can you know, I used to get the cash gift cards for those Fetch Rewards and use it towards something I purchased in my business. So you could use it for whatever you want, y'all. So I encourage you to do so. But as far as food, I budget $100 for this week. I went over, as y'all saw, $116. So I'm $16 in the hole, so it doesn't get anything here. Now, typically what I do when I overspend myself, I just take it out the next week. So next week, I have a budget for $100, but instead of giving myself $100, I'll give myself $84 for next week's budget, and that's just how I do that. If I have to run to the store in between here and there, I'll get what I need and I'll just subtract it, and then that's why you don't see the whole full amount as I'm starting, because if I gotta get it, I gotta get it. I can't wait for no video. But the whole point is, and because I am here, I know I've said in another video, my income has dropped from what I'm used to making. So our budget is extremely tight here. So I went down from having 4 sources of income to now I was down to 1 income here. I didn't think I was going to be here that long. I ended up getting monetized on YouTube. So it ended up giving me a second source of income. But I now set myself up to where I could now start advertising my other business, Tamara Divine Creations, where I make different apparels for little girls, little boys, and adults, y'all. I do bonnets for women. I do ties for men, do rags for men. So I'm going to advertise that more. I didn't really talk about it these past few months since I've been away from home because I did not have the equipment to make anything. So why talk about it? If anybody wanted something, I couldn't do it anyway. But I'm back in business, y'all. I also do budgeting items as well, such as like saving challenges and stuff like that. A bunch of that is home, but I can make some here. I'm not gonna really advertise that because, like I said, I got a lot of that stuff back home. I'm not trying to reinvest that here. I did reinvest money in order to so I can start making stuff, because you know that I looked at that as investing in my business. If I have to get help to help me make this stuff, then I have double the equipment so we can push double the work out. So I'm just looking at that as an investment. Far as the budgeting stuff, I have not really been doing the budgeting thing, so I couldn't really advertise the budgeting thing, so it just really didn't make any sense, y'all. So anyway, so I went over $16, so I won't be putting $16. I won't be putting $100 in here next week. I will only be putting $84. But of course, if I have to go to the store before then, I will purchase it and then subtract it from that week. And then whatever's left, then that's what I'll be stuffing, or vice versa. But okay, so food gets nothing in the envelope because, of course, as you can see, we overspent. Gifts is what used to be called charity. Charity is basically, I can give it out for a tip. I can give it out to someone that needs some extra change. Here you go. I can help somebody. That's all it is. But in this new binder I just got, they did not have a charity envelope, and the other envelopes y'all seen in the previous video is tore up from the flow up, so I didn't want to keep putting that on there because I don't want that to represent, because that's not not at all. It's just that I didn't have access to my stuff. Okay, so charity will be getting $5 this week. However, I did spend $4 in giving a small tip. So I will only be stuffing $1 in this for this week. You know, I've been in the service industry from serving and as a cab driver. If I do something, regardless of how tight my budget is, I do believe in tipping. So now I have $6 in charity. Ooh, yeah. Hair used to be beauty. Beauty get $5 a week. And like I said, previous, like if I need something, I will pull it. I'm trying to get out of that habit of doing that, pulling it from one envelope and just sticking to that envelope. It had $2 left over from last week. It gets $5 from this week. So of course there is now $7 in beauty. The goal isn't to be pulling from the envelope, although, you know, whatever money's in here, I could use it because that's what it's for, to get what I want. But my ultimate goal is to just stack money and build small mini savings so that way I can utilize that money in that particular envelope. Now, and it also helped me control my spending. Yeah, because as y'all see, when it's on my card, it's damn gonna spend it, right? So I like to put it on here, which is a downside of going to spend before you actually do your budgeting and setting everything aside, because you have access, easy access for it. It's on the bank card, it's on my debit card. I do not do credit cards, so it's an easy swipe, right? So you can get whatever you need. So I'm trying to get myself out of that because I feel like that's where I kind of go wrong with a lot of my finances. I just take from something and do what I need to do and try to figure out later. No, I'm really trying to make sure I just stick to whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing in that. Once it's gone, it's gone. If I didn't have the money, I would have to try to figure it out. So I'm trying to really train myself. I'm not saying I'm the best with that. I'm still a work in progress. So there's $7 in hair. Household, I did it again, y'all, did it again. Okay, so household get $50 a week, right? I spent $174. It says $200. I just took cash out for my cash stuffings. But I spent $174.47 plus $9.08, which was a grand old total of $183.49. Yeah, so I went over. So far as household is concerned, unless I just desperately need something in the house that I have to get, and I'll pull it from somewhere else, like miscellaneous, because I do have a miscellaneous. So just in case I run out of money from another envelope, I can pull it to the other one. So that I do have something built in, but sometimes, you know, you can still run over that, and then that's where the problems start coming in, where you start debiting everything. So for the next 2.5 weeks, household will not have any funding because I've already overspent, and I have to catch myself up through not putting extra funding in that. So household will not be, household overspent by $134. So for the next 2.5 weeks, household will not get anything. Miscellaneous is $80 a week. I've already spent $74 with miscellaneous. And the miscellaneous stuff that I spent was, I'm trying to think of what all it was. It was, let me go on. I got it written down on my other notebook. It's where I did my cab ride and all that crap. Okay, so my cab fare was my miscellaneous. So I believe it came up to like almost 60 something dollars that I spent on that. And then I also went to the grocery, not to the grocery store, to the gas station, and I bought some stuff out of the gas station. I dropped my tripod. So I ended up spending $74 on that. The cab fare I do not have receipts for, so I can't show what I spent on that, but yeah. Y'all, literally the cab fare from here to Walmart, that's why I only go once a month when it comes to this place. If I need anything else, I just get it from the food line or the commissary. It is almost $30 there and almost $30 back. And so therefore that's why I had spent $74, because the majority of that was cab fare. That's why I'm either walking or I am I'll just walk before I can't spend $30 a pop. I just can't afford it. I am in transportation. I get it, okay, but right now the funds ain't funding, so that just can't happen for me right now. I only go when absolutely necessary. So out of the $80, I spent $74. Y'all, I got $6 left. That is it. Tight week. Well, I pretty much got everything, so I don't need nothing else at this point. Not this week. Next week is where the fun begins for this month. Personal, I budget myself $30. They did have personal listed here. This right here is when I go to the bank. I do like breakdowns when I go get my money from out of the bank for my cash stuffings. That's what this is. But unfortunately, because of no transportation up this way, it's getting my money whenever I can. Or however I can, and I got to figure out breakdowns later on. Personal, I end up, my personal budget is $30 a week, y'all. I overspent on this too because I needed so much stuff, like I did. And also I end up getting a couple of games that I can play on my YouTube, which will also, so I look at that as this can potentially generate more income based off of views. So hey, it is what it is. But I spent $62, so that means next week I get absolutely nothing for personal, and then the third week of this month I get $28 versus $30. But yeah, so make sure y'all scan those receipts, y'all. So, but then, and I round everything up. It was $61.22. Of course, the change I put in my little change thing. Y'all don't be sleeping on that change, because that change can add up. You hear me? And I shared it in a previous video where I had over $200 and something in change, and I used that when we went on our vacation to Orlando for my granddaughter's birthday. So y'all don't be sleeping on the change. Change add up, okay? So hold on to it. That's another way of trying to save money. Then there is transportation, far as business. I'm sorry. Then there is jump ahead. There's vacation. Vacation in my other personal binder was listed as entertainment. So I can go out, have fun, go to a movie. And that's what entertainment is for me. But I put vacation because it's relaxing. Because that was the closest title inside this new book that they had. So vacation had no money from the previous week left out of there. I'm giving it $10. And then, hold on, I need to go get the other, oops, and move that around. I need to go get the other binder real quick. So that way I could I'm gonna pull out one of the sleeves, and that's for transportation. Because they did not have, and transportation is basically my business binder. And if I'm out and about, I have to get something for my business, or if I order something for my business. Now, if I have the cash inside here, what I will do is I will put the cash back into my account. If I have to use the cash, if I have to use it on my debit card, then I will subtract it from out of my binder and put it back into my account to compensate for what I spent. That should have been that I should have just spent directly out of my wallet. That's kind of how I treat that. And normally I would have like a gas folder in here, but of course, since I'm not driving, there's no need for no gas folder. And so that's just extra buffoonery. So this one is going to start off with what I have left over. And then transportation, there's one receipt. The rest of it was done online. I ended up spending $250 for my transportation. And well, I ended up budgeting $250. I ended up spending $245 for everything I needed in order to get myself set up so I could start making money from here. And stuff I just needed for my business. And this is some of the stuff I got from Walmart to try to help me out, sort of get everything situated or whatnot. And from the Walmart, it was like $96.16. From Amazon, it was the difference, which was like $100 and something that I had spent on Amazon. Let's see. 250, subtract 96. I spent $155 on Amazon for the stuff that I needed there. So we're gonna put, because I like to keep this in alphabetical order, y'all. So let's go after personal. So this is why. You see how this look? This is like, it a little bit dirty. So that's why I didn't want to. And then that darn binder, it was done dealing. You hear me? So let me put this in here. This one don't look too bad because the rest of them are newer. But after, let me put that over there before it can be scanned on my Fetch Rewards. After spending $245 towards my business, so I can get it somewhat back and running, so that way I can have, instead of having 2 income sources, I can now have 3 income sources, because I'm going to be selling stuff off of, selling stuff that I make through Tamara's Divine Creation. So hopefully that will generate some more money while I'm here. I had $5 left over from that. And that goes here. The transportation. So my balance will start off at $5, y'all. And that will conclude my cash stuffing. Yeah, so typically like and these are the receipts I have to scan. My income generates from my transportation business that I actually drive from, for my personal and medical trips that I do. I also pick up Uber trips in between. I cannot drive for Uber here in Maryland because I don't have a license. Here in Maryland, you're only allowed to drive for Uber where you're licensed at. So I'm licensed in the state of Florida. I even thought about trying to get back in a cab here, but unfortunately you cannot drive cabs here unless you have a Maryland license, and I'm not going to do that because I don't know. I'm not going to be here for too much longer, hopefully. So that was not going to happen, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and I will scan these under Fetch Rewards so I can earn my points. Make sure I'm leaving it in the description so that way you can sign up for Fetch Rewards up under me. You can start earning cash back on your Fetch Rewards. But yeah, so typically I have my transportation company. I do my personal pickups back home, medical runs, and I do Uber to compensate when I don't have a lot of clientele flowing through my own business. But that's out of the question here, so no go here. I also have Tamara Divine Creation, which back home, of course, but I didn't have the equipment, but now I do, because hence why I spent all the money getting everything I needed here. So now I'm able to start back with that. So that's a plus. That's one income for me here. I also have now generated YouTube. So I do get paid from there every month. So that's my second income from that as well. And I also, let me see, make sure I got everything. I also have my dispatching part of my business that I could do here, but I have to get a printer in order to do that, or a printer fax machine in order to do that, so I could start back doing that, which hopefully by the end of this month, I will be back to dispatching. So that will be my third income. And that's a big chunk too. So I'll be able to do that here. I don't have to register my business here because my business is actually registered in Florida. I'm gonna just be running it from here. So that'll be 3 versus 2 incomes that I have. And then of course I have, which that's 4 incomes. And then I have my income that, that I get every month from my ex, who I know he want me out of his pockets, but hey, should have did the right thing when you should have did the right thing. But yeah, so I will be getting that probably for the rest of, either if he pays it lump sum, then I'll be set probably for the rest of my life, or either I'm going to be able to continue to go like that until he's no longer here. And then even after that, I can still collect because he, yeah, I still can collect on it even after he's gone. So as long as I'm here, I will have that source of income as well. So that is my 4th source of income. But that's pretty much what we were living off of while I was here, not working, was my income from my ex. And it's a pretty decent amount that, you know, you could, you know, operate off of. It's just tight if that's all that you're working with. And unfortunately, for a minute there, that's all I was working with. But now I got, like I said, now I got 4 incomes that I can, well, let's say right now, 3 incomes that I can now do a little bit more with, as well as I am looking for a part-time stay-at-home job. So while I am here, you know, in between everything else I'm trying to do, I can try to generate income from that as well. Because look, hey, I ain't no stranger to work. Like, I don't get it where people just lazy and they just don't want to work. I don't understand that. I will never understand that. You don't work, you don't eat. So as y'all can clearly see, I'm a hardworking woman. I'm busy. On top of why I'm here, I still have to get that taken care of as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this budgeting series off for this week. As always, be your brothers and sisters keeper. Keep God first. And toodles. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, y'all.